Welcome, Central Indiana sports fans, to the Central Indiana Sports Report for my new daily podcast, Greg and his friends talk sports. I'm your host, Greg Mengel, and every weekday afternoon, my friends and I are talking about whatever Central Indiana sports fans are talking about, whether it's the Pacers, Fever, Colts, IU, Purdue, IndyCar, national sports, local colleges, high school sports, whatever it is, whatever Central Indiana sports fans are talking about. That's what we're talking about. And coming up today, Thursday, April 2nd, 2026, the Pacers won again. Yay. Fernando and D'Angelo dazzle at Pro Day, and the IHSAA released its new sectional assignments for volleyball and boys and girls basketball, plus lots of local and national news and notes. And then Grant Shouse joins me to preview a busy weekend in Indianapolis. NIT D2, D3, Final Four, all in Indy this weekend. And before we get to all that, I want to let you know what's going on at the Central Indiana Sports Report. We released our Purdue report with Jake Dunn earlier this morning, recapping the season and looking forward to next year for the Boilermakers. Expect to have an IndyCar report later Thursday if we can work it out with Elijah Poe. Had 3 weeks off between races, so we may wait till next week, but we're going to try to have one this week. And a Final Four preview with Grant Shouse and Mike Hutzel, which was a lot of fun. And that one will be out first thing Friday morning. Thank you so much for joining us. My friends and I will be back tomorrow and every weekday afternoon. And here's what happened on Wednesday, April 1st, 2026. Your Indiana Pacers set a new season high with 145 points and blitzed a very disinterested Chicago Bulls team 145-126 on Wednesday night. Everything they put up went in. It was unreal. Pascal Siakam, 25 points and 8 rebounds. Ethan Thompson, a career high, 24 points. Indiana's won 3 of its last 5 games and is no longer in the basement, moving past the Wizards into a 28th place tie with the Brooklyn Nets. And they can ill afford to move up any more in the standings if they want the best odds possible to get a top 4 pick in the June 25th NBA draft. The Pacers are now a game and a half behind the Sacramento Kings for the last safe spot. Next up are trips to Charlotte and Cleveland, 2 teams that will definitely be interested in winning those games. We were scheduled to have our Pacers guy Mike Rich on today. He was not feeling well. We will get his take on everything on Monday's Pacers Report. Get well, Rico. 23 Indiana Hoosiers participated in NFL Pro Day in Bloomington on Wednesday, including Heisman Trophy winner and expected number 1 overall pick Fernando Mendozza. Reports were of a stellar performance from him in front of all the NFL scouts. And D'Angelo Pons made his case to be chosen in the first round. After not running in the NFL Combine, Pons reportedly ran a 4.3140 on Wednesday. We'll have a full recap of Pro Day and talk some basketball on the IU report on Tuesday with Grant Shouse and Mike Hutzel. New sectionals were announced by the IHSAA for volleyball and boys and girls basketball sectionals. And here's how it looks locally. The biggest news is Madison Grant dropped from Class 2A to Class A. The Argyles will now be in Sectional 55 with Cowan, Daleville, North Miami, Northfield, Southern Wells, Southwood, and Westell. Moving Tri-Central out of that sectional is Sectional 54 with Carroll, Clinton Central, Rossville, Bethesda Christian, Traders Point, and Frontier. Other than Madison Grant moving down, the Class 2A sectionals are all the same. Oak Hill, Eastern, Cass, Maconaquah, Peru, and Rochester in Sectional 38. Elwood, Frankton, Tipton, Lapel, Sheridan, and Taylor in Sectional 39. And now Sectional 40 is a 5-team field with Alexandria, Blackford, Eastbrook, Burris, and Wapahani. In Class 3A, our local teams will no longer go north to the Fort Wayne area. Instead, Mississinawa and Marion will be in Sectional 23 with Northwestern, Western, West Lafayette, Logansport, and Twin Lakes. Guerin Catholic moved up a class and into Sectional 24, which is typically played at Newcastle in the boys basketball sectional. and they replaced Connorsville. 4A locally is exactly the same, except New Pal moves from 3A to 4A and joins Sectional 10 with Lawrence North, Lawrence Central, North Central, Warren Central, and Tech. And Tipton Tribune and Elwood Call Leader sports editor Michelle Garman will join me on this show tomorrow to discuss all of it. Some national news and notes headlines. The 2026 World Cup field is set after Bosnia, Czechia, Sweden, and Turkey claimed the final European spots with playoff wins, and Congo and Iraq won the CAF playoffs on Wednesday. The World Cup, of course, this summer being played in the United States, Canada, and Mexico, and begins June 11th in Mexico City. The U.S. plays Paraguay in Los Angeles on Friday, June 12th. And we will have a World Cup report throughout the whole thing, and that should be starting pretty soon. The Reds lost 8-3 to the Pirates on Wednesday, and everyone else in the NL Central won. Milwaukee's 5-1, tied with the Marlins and Yankees for the best record in baseball. No one in the Central plays today. The Reds are in Texas, the Cubs are in Cleveland, and the Cardinals are in Detroit for 3 interleague series in the NL Central. Bill Self announced that he's returning to Kansas next season, and the NFL announced Wednesday that Las Vegas will host its first Super Bowl LXIII in 2029. For the record, it'll be Los Angeles next year and Atlanta in 28. And a couple more NFL notes. Kirk Cousins has signed with the Raiders, and Buccaneers linebacker Levante David has announced his retirement. He should probably get some Hall of Fame consideration down the line. And some local news and notes. All 6 Core Junior All-Stars are from the metro area. That was announced on Wednesday. Fisher's Jason Gardner Jr. and Cooper Zachary, Pike's Isaiah Hill and Jahari Miller, Plainfield's Harper Baker Lands, and Max Weiss of state champion Mount Vernon. Garin Catholic's Jake Grissom is on the red team that will play with the core group against the Kentucky All-Stars at Charlestown on May 31st. And Carmel's Cash Daniels is on the blue team that will play against the Indiana All-Star Seniors at Mount Vernon on June 3rd. Weiss has reportedly been offered a scholarship by Kent State, and his teammate Luke Ertl, who's about to be Mr. Basketball before heading to West Lafayette, will participate in the National Three-Point Contest Friday at Hinkle Fieldhouse as part of the festivities that my friend Grant Shouse is about to tell you all about. Grant and his IU partner Mike Hutzel and I, our Final Four report, of course, the Final Four in Indianapolis this weekend. But Grant, that is not the only thing that is going on this weekend in Indianapolis.
There's a lot of stuff going on in Indianapolis. Of course, Indiana hosted all of the NCAA tournament in 2021, and you were limited to the amount of people you could get in the building. So I know that the Indiana Sports Corps and the city of Indianapolis and the state really wanted to have a, no pun intended, slam dunk this weekend, where starting Thursday you have the NIT semifinals, which will be at Hinkle. The first game will be Tulsa versus New Mexico at 7 o'clock, and then the follow will be Illinois State versus Auburn. That game will be at 9:30 at Hinkle Fieldhouse. The winners move to the championship, which will be on Sunday. And then on Friday, you got the Fan Fest stuff there at Lucas Oil, the open practices, where you'll see Illinois, UConn, Arizona, and Michigan all practice, basically a glorified shoot-around. And then at 3:15, they'll have the Reese's NABC All-Star Game, which actually features IU. Sam Alexis will be in it. Phil Martelli Jr., coach at VCU, and then Ryan Clayman, the coach at High Point, are the 2 coaches for that game. And then Saturday, of course, the 2 games at Lucas Oil. And then Sunday, a real interesting day where you have the D2 National Championship, which will be at Gainbridge, which will be Lander versus Gannon in the D2 National Championship. The D3 National Championship will be Emory University against Mary Washington. That'll be at 4:30. Again, that's the D3 National title game. And then the NIT Championship at Gainbridge on Sunday as well, with the winner of New Mexico and Tulsa and Auburn versus Illinois State during the championship. Should be a good, fun weekend of basketball, and then round it all out there on Monday for the national championship game at Lucas Oil.
Center of the sports universe right here in Indianapolis.
The best host city in the world, Greg. No doubt about it.
Thanks, Grant.
Appreciate it.
I mean, it is the very best place in the world, so of course, it's the best host in the world. Thanks so much to Grant, and thank you for listening. We'll be back tomorrow. This was one of our shorter ones. Tomorrow, I promise you, will be a much longer one. Grant will be back to recap the NIT and preview the Final Four. Hopefully, Mike Rich will be well enough to preview Hornets and Pacers, but he'll be back on Monday either way. And Michelle Garman will definitely be here. We're going to have a long conversation about some high school sports, talking about all the things I just talked about, the all-star teams, the sectional realignments, and some spring sports as well. Please join us. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media, and I love Susie.